It looks like the FTC might challenge Xbox's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. So it's been a crazy couple of days with all of the documents and things that have been coming out from the CMA in terms of Sony's response and reasoning why they want to block this deal, and then Microsoft pushing back on that. We did a deeper dive into that yesterday. If you want to go ahead and check out that video, I'll link it in the description below. But then this article came out later after all of the CMA documents came out, and it is from Politico, and it has to do with potentially the fact that the acquisition is going to be challenged by the FTC. So they say here, the Federal Trade Commission is likely to file an antitrust lawsuit to block Microsoft's $69 billion takeover of video game giant Activision Blizzard. And this is according to 3 people with knowledge on the matter. And one of the things that we always hear about the FTC is that they are really trying to show their power, trying to show that they are able to push back against these large technology companies and these massive acquisitions. It says here, lawsuit would be the FTC's biggest move yet under Chair Lina Khan to rein in the power of the world's largest technology companies. It would also be a major black mark for Microsoft, which has positioned itself as a white knight of sorts on antitrust issues in the tech sector after going through its own grueling regulatory antitrust battles around the world more than 2 decades ago. Now, the title is funny because they do say here right under that, they kind of go against what the title is saying. They say a lawsuit challenging the deal is not guaranteed, and the FTC's 4 commissioners have yet to vote out a complaint or meet with lawyers for the companies, these 2 people said. So this is really speculation. This is just people who I guess have heard things about this deal, who are close to the deal, and this is the information that they are providing. But the actual people who are going to be making these decisions, we have no idea yet where they are leaning. However, the FTC staff reviewing the deal are skeptical of the company's arguments, those people said. The investigation remains ongoing, but much of the heavy lifting is completed, including depositions of Microsoft's chief executive, Satya Nadella, and Activision head, Bobby Kotick. The people with knowledge of the investigation have said if the agency does move ahead with the case, it could come as soon as next month. We may know more about this very soon. And they say central to the FTC's concern is whether acquiring Activision would give Microsoft an unfair boost in the video game market. I mean, this is the continuous argument that PlayStation specifically is trying to push forward. We know they've reached out for comments from other third parties, and they haven't cared. They haven't looked at anything. But from PlayStation side, they're really focusing on the advantage that Xbox is going to have if they do get this acquisition and then have Call of Duty, such a powerful IP. And we also heard Phil Spencer come out and say that this is just absolutely a narrative created by the console competitors, not specifically saying PlayStation, but you can assume he's referring to PlayStation, where the real reason that they want this deal is for the mobile side of gaming, a place where Xbox is extremely weak on. They don't have a dedicated mobile place, dedicated mobile games that they're pushing out there. And mobile is where you're going to continue to grow your business over the upcoming years. So Xbox, as we know, is number 3 to the industry-leading Sony Interactive Entertainment and its PlayStation console. Sony, however, has emerged as the deal's primary opponent, telling the FTC and regulators in other countries that if Microsoft made hit games like Call of Duty exclusive to its platform, Sony would be significantly disadvantaged. I'm not going to go over all the reasons why I disagree with this. That's in my other video if you want to go check that out. But that is literally the thing that Sony is primarily focusing on. They don't care about anything else. All they care about is Call of Duty. The main reason is that Call of Duty brings Sony in the most amount of money for their video game division every single year. Now, we love to talk about Sony because they are the main opponent of this deal, but apparently Google as well is an opponent to a lesser extent. They say Google is also an opponent of the deal, according to 2 of the people with knowledge of the matter. The company has argued that Microsoft has purposely degraded the quality of its Game Pass subscription service when used with Google Chrome's operating system, and owning Activision would further its incentive to do so, ultimately steering the hardware sales towards Microsoft and away from Google. Now, I'm not 100% sure what Google's argument here is, but at the end of the day, there are some things on the Microsoft Edge browser that are better on the Google Chrome browser. And if you are playing Game Pass via the cloud on Edge, you're going to get things like Clarity Boost that isn't there on Google Chrome, which is an advantage of using the Microsoft products. Obviously, that stuff is going to continue to happen. They're going to want to push people more and more over to Microsoft products when playing Xbox Game Pass. I mean, they're still going to put their games everywhere. They're still going to give you that option that, hey, if you do want to play on through via Google Chrome, you're still gonna be able to do that. But if you come over to Microsoft Edge, you get things like Clarity Boost. And plus you gotta remember, Stadia was a thing until it wasn't a thing anymore. It was a streaming service that was going to be in direct competition with Xbox Cloud Gaming until they killed it off because they did a terrible job at running it. From what I understand, Google Stadia actually had really good streaming. It had high quality streaming, but they just did not know how to provide that value proposition to consumers who wanted to play games via streams, who wanted to sign up to these subscription services and just get amazing content. Xbox Game Pass has done it better than anybody. And that's the main thing here when it comes to these subscription services. It isn't because Xbox is trying to push all of these other players out of the market when it comes to streaming, when it comes to subscription. Right now, there is no other player out there that has even really tried to match the value that Game Pass is providing. And you could argue, well, because no other player has that type of money, but Google has that type of money. Google could have provided a better value proposition to consumers when it comes to streaming, when it comes to subscription. They just didn't know how to get into the gaming market. They didn't know how to do it properly. And now Stadia is gone. And Google themselves as well is under antitrust scrutiny with the whole Fortnite stuff, the mobile app on the Google Play Store, all that type of stuff. So it says here, Google is a minor player in the gaming industry and it's winding down its own online gaming service, Stadia. However, it is under antitrust scrutiny around the world, including for conduct in the gaming market, and it is unlikely to be a sympathetic opponent. Fortnite maker Epic Games is currently suing Google, arguing that it is illegally blocking Fortnite from its mobile app store, Google Play. Now, the FTC's concerns specifically apparently extend beyond just Call of Duty. They say the investigators are trying to determine how Microsoft could leverage future unannounced titles to boost its gaming business, according to two people with knowledge of the review. Now, Activision has now come out and they've talked about their thoughts on what is going on. This is from Lulu Chang Mezerve, who is the EVP Corporate Affairs and CCO at Activision Blizzard. And she tweeted this out, seeing a lot of speculation about Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Any suggestion that the transaction could have anti-competitive effects is absurd. This merger will benefit gamers and the US gaming industry, especially as we face stiffer competition from abroad. We're committed to continuing to work cooperatively with regulators around the globe to allow the transaction to proceed, but won't hesitate to fight to defend the transaction if that's needed. Now, I'm not sure what this means going forward, but it kind of sounds like Activision themselves are looking at everything that is going on and maybe getting a little bit scared that this deal is going to get blocked or it's going to have a ton of pushback and it's going to be much harder to proceed than they originally thought. And when they say here that they are continuing to work cooperatively with regulators, does that mean that they're going to be making concessions? Are regulators asking them to have some restrictions on what they do with some of these games for this deal to go through? I feel like that is something that could happen for this deal to pass. Maybe Xbox is going to have to make some concessions on what they're going to be doing with all their games, especially when it comes to putting them into the subscription services in Xbox Game Pass, which I think for gamers, for consumers, for people like myself, would be just an absolute shame if something were to come out where they say this deal is going to pass, but you can't put Call of Duty into Xbox Game Pass. That's what the exciting thing is here, I would say, for most gamers out there who have Xbox and have Xbox Game Pass. For me, I don't care that Xbox is purchasing Activision Blizzard. It doesn't really matter to me from the business perspective, the business point of view. What I am excited about is just all of the games that are going to be coming to Game Pass if the deal goes through and there are no restrictions blocking that. But just some more talk here about this acquisition where it's really heating up. We're getting towards the end points, you could say, as this deal was supposed to be passing in the first 4 months or so of 2023 by March, April period. So we're getting close to that and we're going to see a lot more stuff come out. It'll be very interesting to see how this thing goes, see what the FTC's decision is, the CMA's decision is, and the EU's decision. But that's it for me. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here, you liked what you saw, please consider hitting that subscribe button and help this channel grow, help grow this community. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.